What is up,
Yo,
ladies and gentlemen? We are here. And I have to say, Ryan, you inspired me. I don't know why, but
oh,
I haven't been drinking on the show in a while. And Ryan was like, I even have a beer. And I went, well, I have beer. I just don't have a beer with me. So I went in the refrigerator and got a beer. And it's my new, okay, I don't like beers in these skinny cans normally. These skinny can beers suck. All of them. Skinny can beers suck. Except this one, dude.
it's mint. It's mint.
This is delicious. Okay,
It is fantastic.
which is not the word you use when talking about skinny can beers.
Not
But
typically.
this one
Not
right here, are you ready for it?
let it hit the palate. You see, you'll taste the hops right there at the back, and then it hits. And there's no penny
It's
taste.
refreshing.
It's amazing.
It's delicious.
And
And
I'd like to thank you for showing me that beer because I had a couple with you, and they were amazing.
they were. And I bought them. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't have any like grand, insight. I went, they don't have very much Mexican beer at Walmart, where I was at with Neil, the world's greatest live streaming minion, by the way. And so I went, well, that's interesting. I'm not a huge Modelo fan, but for some reason, this just sounded good. And it's skinny beer, right? It's skinny can and skinny beer in general. So it's like the same as a Mick Ultra, only it doesn't taste like shit. So it's great. Um, it's a delicious beer. It tastes like you imagine beer tastes like. That's what this tastes like, right?
Yeah.
Like just beer. Like it doesn't taste like some hoppy IPA bullshit. It doesn't taste like, some,
Pumpkin
I don't know.
seed,
Yeah, that's yeah. Yes.
October, fall, winter leaf, seed.
Pumpkin spice. Yes, whatever.
Yeah.
No, this tastes like beer, and beer is good. Okay,
Beer is
so
good. Cheers to you,
Modelo
bud.
Oro to you, young man,
Mm-hmm.
whoever invented this. Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Barnalicious in the house, and of course, Neil, the world's greatest live streaming minion. Um, want to officially and publicly thank Neil for his tireless dedication to the Drag and Drive community and for being my right hand man on the Rocky Mountain Race Week live streams this last week. We did that. If you missed it, you missed a lot. We had a great time. There was a lot of fun to be had. It was insanely hot. We sweated way. My ankles sweat at one point. I was sweating. Like origination of the sweat was my ankles. I don't know how that's even possible. But yeah, big thanks to Neil for being there. Appreciate it. And all of you guys that tuned in, we appreciate it. It was good seeing Stuart and everybody. And of course, you were there, Ryan.
It
In
was for a
Ennis,
little bit.
Jake showed up.
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
he
He
had
showed up and
fun.
showed out. Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I have to share. We have a lot of photos from Rocky Mountain Race Week that I have here that I can show, including some great ones with a hot dog, and then lots of tire smoke. But Ryan's son Jake also manned the live stream in the van. So the MacFab Beadlocks van, he was inside and helping out, running some cameras. So that was cool. It was fun. Very fun. So it was good to see him as well. Stephen Myrick says ankle sweat matters. Dude, couldn't agree with you more, my friend. Could not agree with you.
Absolutely.
So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about drag and drives, and we're going to be talking about this a little bit different than normal, and here's why. So the normal is that we're talking about drag and drives, trying to get you guys prepared and what have you, and there'll be a little bit of that because of some things I think that people are missing out on, and because it just some interesting things, and so we'll cover those. But more than that, I've heard some things recently. Quite frankly, some things that surprised me, and then a few things that pissed me off. That people have said recently about Dragon Drives, who clearly have not one single clue what the hell they're talking about. And then some other people that have opinions that are different from mine may make them valid, but I don't understand. So I want to engage you, my audience here, to see what you think um, about what we're going to talk about. So first off, I want to start off with um, how and when Dragon Drive started. And there's a group of people out there. I found out this last week. There were some people that truly just didn't even know the realities of how it started, and I realized that it's been a real long time since anybody probably told this story. So David Freiberger is definitely the originator of Hot Rod Magazine's Drag Week. However, um, he did not just dream this up out of nowhere, and he has said this repeatedly over the years. So I'm not bagging on Freiberger. He has never made any incorrect claims. Um, a fine member of the automotive media, Brock Yates, started what was called and is still running to this day One Lap of America in 1984. Okay, One Lap of America was supposed to be like the legal version of the Cannonball Run. Okay. Um, and so it started and ended at the tire rack where it still starts to this day, which I believe is in Ohio or something like that. Um, and they start and end at tire rack, and they go to all these different road courses, and it's road racing. So you're driving the car you're racing with no support vehicle, all the exact same shit you're used to on Drag Week and every other Dragon Drive, except they're road racing their cars. And quite frankly, in some ways, it's more hardcore than Dragon Drive, from what I understand. Now, I know people who have done one lap. Obviously, I've done a jillion Dragon Drives. I don't know anybody who's done both. I'm going to see if I can fix that this year. I'm going to see if in 2025 I can go on one lap, either ride with somebody or whatever, because I want to see how does it compare. You know, how's the experience? So we'll see. But that is how the very first one of these drive and race events of any notoriety was One Lap of America. And again, that was 1984. So 21 years later, Freiberger decided, hey, we should put this together. And in 05, we started it for the very first Drag Week. And I was there. All of you guys know I was in Rusty, my 56 Chevy wagon. I've done a jillion Drag Weeks, built a bunch of different cars for it, including the, quickest and fastest for a while. There's a lot of different stuff. Actually, Crosby, that's a great idea. Crosby's saying, I know a car we can do it with. I'm in, dude. Let's go do One Lap of America together. That'd be rad. We could win some shit. Anyway, so so the 05, that's how it happened. That's how Drag Week started. And quite frankly, for 10 years, it was the only thing, right? I mean, nobody did anything else. There were no other Dragon Drives until Matt Frost decided he was going to do his own. And when he decided that, everybody on Earth either did one of two things. They either told him he was crazy or they motherfucked him because they thought he was somehow infringing on Drag Week's turf. Well, now look at all the Dragon Drives, right? I mean,
what, 54 of them or 55 of them? There's a ton.
There's a ton now. I mean, in the last 3 weeks, there have been 3. Okay. So, it's nuts. And they're all over the country. Some are bigger, some are smaller, whatever. But the thing is that all of the guys that are putting them on now, and let's be honest here so the people at home understand this. Ryan and I we're our whatever working on our own drag and drive and have been for the last couple of years. In fact, we were all ready to have one this year and got screwed by racetrack. So, by racetrack closing, I should say. We didn't get screwed by them.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, don't
Right.
make no mistake. Nobody screwed us out of money or any of that.
No.
No, but mostly because we don't have any.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm broke.
Yeah, we have way too many cars, no money. But anyway, so all the guys that have, I mean, can you imagine like all the other dudes that have come along and have, started their own now? I mean, they really do owe Matt because they didn't get beat all to shit about it like he did, because everybody, I mean, literally, dude, there were a lot of people that were like, screw this guy, that's trying to do something like Drag Week. I mean, it was bad for a while,
Yeah, I remember seeing some of it on Facebook and stuff like that, and yeah, it was rough. It was rough for sure.
Well, and Stephen Myrick's asking, I'm honestly not familiar with drag and drive events. Would a decent OBS Chevy that's not real fast be okay for this? Yes, because it really doesn't matter as long as you're having a good time. So, and here's the big deal on drag and drive events, and another thing about the progression. And this is honestly one of the big things that sort of got me fired up the other day. So 2005 Hot Rod does theirs. 2015 Matt comes out with his, and then during COVID, Hot Rod said they weren't doing it, and Matt said, go F yourself, we're doing it. And really that was a big jump for his whole event. Like it went from, being a good event to being sold out and crazy during that time, and with good reason. Everybody wanted stuff to do, and Hot Rod wasn't providing it, right? So that was what it was. But one of the other things that we added, and that has become a part of a few different drag and drives, is it really sort of changes the game, and some people will think it's not a big deal, but it really is. So back in the day, and to this day, Hot Rod does not allow anybody to follow along behind you. Nobody can hang out with you. Nobody can do any of those things because it is, it is frowned upon, because they are afraid somebody will be offering you support, right? And no support vehicles are allowed. But the thing is that, you get families and stuff that want to do it. And, that was never really a problem with Drag Week, because Drag Week started out and has always been in September, right? It's a horrible time of year. I've been very critical of their timing for decades. Okay. So this is nothing new, but a bunch of people from LA decided to do a road trip across the middle of the country. And then they wonder why everybody runs into deer in September when we drive through cornfields. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand what's going on there, right? So
it's kind of a dead giveaway. Yeah.
You think? Yeah. So, when Rocky Mountain Race Week started, it was in June, or is in June. And the reason was a really simple one. And that is because Matt and his wife, June, who started Rocky Mountain Race Week, they have kids who are in school. So they couldn't do September. The kids are in school. Like, how are they going to do that, right? So they brought their entire family. I mean, all their kids were with them from little to big. It was hilarious. I mean, their kids grew up in the pits at Drag and Drives with all of us idiots teaching them really bad habits. Like, hey, let's show you how to do burnouts in the golf cart, So, which is awesome. Like, it was fun, right? And all the years of doing Drag Week, and Rocky Mountain Race Week and all the others, Sick Week, all of them, like, there's such cool stories. There's such neat deals. Like, the experiences are neat. Hell, you and I met on one, like, that's how this works. Right. But again, you couldn't have anybody else that you enjoyed the trip with until Rocky Mountain Race Week. And the reason, again, is because it's in June, right? So what you had is that you had two dudes in a car racing it and one or both of them, their wives, following along in the minivan with the kids in it, right? Because it's June, everybody's out they didn't want to sit at home by themselves, right? So
Yep.
I was talking to a very good friend of mine, Scott Payton, and it was during or immediately following one of the Rocky Mountain Race Week, either the first or the second one. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up now. And he and I were talking, and he said, you guys should add an element that is like Power Tour, where people can just do the drive. And he said this because I was standing in a gas station, and Royce Payton was in the gas station in his Mustang with his co-pilot, and his little girl walked up and put her arms around his leg and asked him if he wanted ice cream, because they had ice cream in the gas station we were in front of, right? And she goes in the gas station, gets him an ice cream, comes out, and he is standing there talking to us while his little girl is holding on to his leg, eating an ice cream, right? Now, how rad is that, right? I mean, come on, that's amazing. So I'm sitting there telling this to Scott. Scott says you need to do a Power Tour style element, and the rest is history. The very next event we had Road Week. And Road Week was added to Rocky Mountain Race Week. Again, it was either the second or third year, and it was awesome. And it's slowly grown over the years. It's big now. We have a lot of road weekers. There are very clear rules. We trust people to be adults and to turn people in if they're doing it wrong. And we've had very little issue with this, but there's rules. If you're a road weeker, you can help any one competitor one time. That's it. You can't help the guy every day. You can't do any of that. That's being a support vehicle, right? So you can help a guy one time. You can save him one time. And we hope it's a good one. So you have an awesome story about being the road weaker that saved the guy that won, whatever, right? So, that's a big deal. That is a different change. Now, recently, Tom Bailey was on another podcast, one of Drag Illustrated's podcasts with Wes Buck, and claimed that he had invented the sick ward. And I hate to break it to you, Tom, but we've been doing it for 5 years before you even did an event. And you know that because you were on our events before you ever did yours. So, and I say our, I'm using the term loosely, but, on Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week. So, which is not to take anything away, dude. Sick Ward is cool. He does some fun things. They do some food trucks and some other stuff. We do a campground. We have all kinds of neat stuff. They have neat stuff. Everybody has neat stuff. And, I think that's one of the points, and you and I were talking about this before, is that all of these dragon drives, personally, I believe there are too many week-long dragon drives now. But take that aside, they all kind of have their own personality, right? They're either in a geographic location that makes them unique, or there's just some little twist to them that makes them different. But I think that's cool. I mean, if you want to do multiple of them, wouldn't you want to go to ones that are a little bit different?
Oh, absolutely. You don't want the same thing, the same flavor everywhere you go. That's for sure. And, me being a person who's only been on one Dragon Drive, which is Rocky Mountain Race Week, I'm partial to it. Right. But I know people that have been on other events, and, they've told me the things they liked about them, and they sound like they're great. I mean, they sound like they're fantastic. Like, there's good stuff about Sick Week, and I just had somebody who was on Sick Summer, but there is some clear differences, and I can just tell by the way they tell their stories. And the stories you hear from Rocky Mountain Race Week they're good, Yeah. And but I also think that like one of the things I like most about Rocky Mountain Race Week that I think that others lack is, and it's the thing that some people bitch about, and that's just the amount of miles you drive. But I think that's the coolest part, though, because I mean, it's like the Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like if you can make it through what everybody just went through in that extreme heat and that many miles, and go put down passes. And I use PJ as an example. Every day the guy got faster. Yes. Like the more he drove it, the more they suffered. The car got faster and faster and faster. Right. And, to me, when I look at Dragon Drives, the Rocky Mountain Race Week is the Ironman.
Right.
That's
Well,
what it
and
is.
you know what's funny about that? So here's PJ. You guys were talking about that.
Yeah.
They
Burgundy,
made it.
Fairmont.
Yep, they made it through the week and had a good time. They worked their asses off for it. That's for sure.
Dude.
But you talk about the Iron Man. It's funny because there's been this huge popularity spike. There are all these new ones, and I posted up or his comment, Big Block Bob, that Drag Week added the drag pack, which is like Road Week, and the sick ward. That's cool. I was not aware of that, Bob. So thank you for pointing that out. But Drag Week was originally considered the most grueling one. Nobody, everything, how did it stack up against Drag Week? Understandable, right? I mean, it's the original, right? But I know that I have recently heard people say, and this is another thing in my notes, that every other drag and drive is just a way for people to practice for Drag Week. And I don't know that I would agree with that anymore. I think any drag and drive you do is practice for the next drag and drive. Let's say that. But
100%.
I would say that Rocky Mountain Race Week, Race Week and Drag Week are the three longest now. Even Drag Week has gotten shorter, but it's still one of the longer ones. But yeah, there's a bunch of them now that you could do in one day. I shouldn't say a bunch. There are a couple that you could do in one day. And I said that recently and somebody bitched at me about it. And I said that if I had the money and the time, I would literally do the route in 24 hours, including making runs at each racetrack, because I think it would be fun. Because I'm a shit disturber and I like doing things when people say you can't do them. But I think that, yeah, in today's day and age with drag and drives getting short, or not all of them, but some of them, when there's shorter options, it's kind of no surprise that people want to go to those, I guess. But I'll tell you, like, some big name people that I'm not going to call out right now, like recently on social media and stuff, are like, oh, screw that, I'm never doing long ones again and all this. And I'm like, wow, what's the point then? Honestly, I want the road trip too. Like, I want to do it. And make no mistake, like in recent years, I haven't got to race because I'm doing live streams for all of you people out there watching. But I still have to do the entire drive just like you guys. Especially now that we've brought MacFab in and we're doing the MacFab photo contest, which we will announce winners on that very shortly. But it's interesting to hear that from people, because I think it's a matter of perspective. You got to understand that when we did Drag Week all those years, we were either traveling from Texas or from California. And on every Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week that we did before 2018, we drove all from California in the car we were racing to race it all week and then drive it back to California. And think about that, like Kearney, Nebraska. When we started in Kearney, Nebraska, we drove the 66 wagon fully ready to go. The only difference being that we had street radials on the wheels, and when we got to Kearney, we had them swapped to the drag radials that were in the back of the car, and then left the street radials at the tire shop, because when we got back, we did the same thing. So we ran on the radials the whole time. And I mean, that's a jillion miles to Kearney, Nebraska from LA. And then, then the 11, 12, 1,300 mile road trip, and then all that way back. Like, oh my God, and so for me, like, I don't think about that. The length doesn't factor into me deciding whether I'm going to do a particular drag and drive. With that said, I do believe that there is a place for shorter drag and drives. The one that we wanted to do is a 3-day deal, and we want it to be 100, 150 mile drives. because we want this to be a way for people to get into drag and drives. I don't want, that.
Right.
I'm not trying to compete with a week long event because, again, I think there's already enough of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so, yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I mean, what do you think? Do you think, like, is there a disadvantage to a long one versus a short one?
So there's two sides of that for me. So when I look at a drag and drive, I look forward to let's go on this week long journey. Now, granted, I haven't been able to go on it as much as I wanted to. Right. So
Right.
speaking from somebody who's still I consider fairly new to it, even though I've been watching it since '05, right? I've
Right.
only been to one and snipped in a couple of them. So I haven't actually competed in one. And but that's going to change next year. And I'm looking
Right.
forward to that week long deal. Like I am looking forward to it. And I know that
Right.
when I went in 2021, I was sick that it was over. Like the day we had to drive out of the hotel, we ate breakfast downstairs and we all said
Yeah.
sayonara. Dude, we were just depressed for like the next 2 weeks. It was horrible. I couldn't plug back
Right.
into society. Like it was great. And it was cool because it, if you go for 1 or 2 days, I don't think you have enough time to disconnect from the day-to-day reality. But that 5 or 6 days, you're in a world with the people that you are, right? And
Yeah.
the, all sharing the same passion that you have, all fighting the same fight, all understanding the same things, and all trying to better themselves each day, right? And then when you come to the end of that, you realize that, man, like when I go to the water cooler to talk to Frank about my weekend, he's not even going to understand, you know.
Right. Right.
And it takes so long to disconnect. And I think that was the most powerful thing that impacted me when I went on Rocky Mountain Race Week in 2021 was when everybody was at the finish and we're at awards and people are happy for each other and patting each other on the back, and some dudes are breaking down and crying because they finished. And you
Yeah.
know you feel all that emotion at the end. You're like, man, I am a part of something that's way bigger than drag racing. And
Yes.
and I think that those times when the country was tilted on its head, I as an individual, as a human being, needed to see that because I felt like the world was just full of what. So when I
Right.
saw that, I was like, no, maybe life's smoke and mirrors, and you miss the big picture. And you go on something like that, it's special. So
Well,
in
and
a
that's
way,
honest.
I like the short ones, but
Yeah.
I think the long ones are a huge benefit too.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think you need both. And what you just said there is exactly why Matt started Rocky Mountain Race Week up. I mean, why he kept it going during COVID, right? Was
Yeah,
exactly that. People needed it. Okay.
yeah,
And I think that shows and has shown since, um, just so that, because I've had people sending me messages asking how long it is. So from my house in Upland, California to Kearney Raceway Park in Kearney, Nebraska was 1,348 miles one way. So, yeah. So we were doing 4,000 plus miles on a week of Rocky Mountain Race Week when we did that. So,
mm-hmm.
let's see. Drag Race E. Yes. Um, Doing recordings at MoCan. Yeah, we appreciate you being there. Media has played such a huge part in all of this. I mean, quite frankly, Kyle was doing 1320 video, was very, very, very tiny, and it was out of his basement when we met on the first drag week. Bang Shift did not exist in '05 when I started doing drag week. I owned a hot rod shop, and that's why I was there, was because Hot Rod asked me to be there because of my 56 Chevy, which hit the cover literally the day before we went there. And you know, uh, Bang Shift grew through drag week. We started it in late '07, '08. And it was, it was arguably me and Kyle were the premier coverage for Drag and Drive, because all that was Drag and Drive was drag week. And quite frankly, we absolutely slaughtered the hot rod staff. In fact, so much so that we got invited not to come back for a while. So there were a few years where we weren't allowed to be there. And there are several rules in effect on Drag Week because of me. Well, Drag Week and Sick Week, since Sick Week uses the same rules and the same staff. Yeah, so, there's a bunch of stuff there because of that. And it's, it's interesting because all of this has evolved, right? There's so much going on. Now, one thing too, I'm going to remind you of, if you're watching this right now and if you comment either on Facebook or on YouTube, we will see it. And if you have questions, we will answer them. Absolutely. Rod Hagen brings up Miles of Mayhem, which is in Canada, which is one of the older events, right? That started up. It's also been around, really, it's Drag Week, Rocky Mountain Race Week, Miles of Mayhem, and, what's the one in Australia called? Now it went out of my head. Those are like the old four, it was Drag Week, then Rocky Mountain Race Week, then Miles of Mayhem, and the Australian one, I believe, were right around the exact same time. Now there's a jillion more. So yeah, it's kind of interesting, but it's cool. Drag Challenge, Rod Hagen, Drag Challenge. Drag Challenge is the one in Australia. Now that one's more hardcore. And I'll tell you why, because Australia, and they have shit that will kill you just in parking lots there. But screw all that bullshit. I'm out. Like, I'm bringing a gun when I go to Australia. And when I say gun, I mean a flamethrower with plenty of stuff on my back.
Napalm,
I'm burning it all down. That's a spider. Sorry, your house is gone. Yeah. Anyway, the Australian one is tough. And this is one of the things that is really cool about Australians. They have, they have a different set of challenges there. Besides the fact that it's all, over the place. The drives are real long and all that. The other thing is, it's like, I could be wrong. It may be a 275, but it could be a 255. But as of a couple of years ago, it was either a 255 or a 275 was the widest tire you were allowed to run legally on the street on a car in Australia.
Wow.
You are not allowed to do any of the things we do to cars in America without a lot more stuff. Like, you can't just weld a 4-link in. You can't build your own cage. You need engineering. It has to be signed off. It has to have all these things. They don't have all kinds of stuff is against the law. Can't have open wheel cars. Got to have fenders on everything. There's a ton of regulations that they are under that just make,
which is BS.
Right. Well, it's Australia. Yeah. You think come on, it was a prison colony, for God's sake. Like, you'd think it'd be wide open, and it is not.
As a kid who grew up watching Mad Max and Road Warrior, do you know how disappointed I was to learn this stuff a few years ago? I'm like, are you kidding me?
Right.
I read Hot Rod Magazine when they did Summer Nats. I used to always go, dude, I want to go to Summer Nats.
That's yes. I still want to. Yes.
I do too.
I want to go to Summer Nats and Brasher Nats, both. But yes.
Yeah. But it's depressing. Like, I have a buddy that has, he's called the Cadillac King of Queensland. And he has all kinds of Cadillacs. And he comes here, buys them, takes them back. And he tells me he's got a couple of rat rods, like a blown 500 Cadillac rat rod truck. And he's like, I can't drive it. I'm like, what do you mean you can't drive it?
Yeah.
Because I can't legally, you can't drive it, but 3 or 4 times a year. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Move. You need to move.
Yeah. Just an FYI, Overtaking Lane streams the Aussie races. So if you are one who wants to watch, Lycan says he wants to go to Bratwurst Nats. That's a made up thing, but I'm in, like, all in. Lycan does say he wants to be a road weeker, which Lycan is blind, so he's not going to be much of a navigator, but I guarantee you would have good jokes and will make sure your stereo system sounds on point. So let's make that happen, Lycan. Let's see what we can do. I think that would be great.
Somebody with a nice Camaro or Corvette, that'd be perfect.
Right?
GPS.
So let me roll back into one thing. So, again, Road Weaker's been around a long time now. Sick Ward and the others. Tom had a momentary lapse of consciousness when he said he invented that. He also, and I don't mean this to be a bash on Tom Knight, but somebody's got to call him out, and nobody does. So I got to. And I love you, Tom. Give me a call, phone in, whatever. Like, would totally have you and bust your balls in person. It's fine. But Dragon Drives were also gaining in popularity before Sick the Mag existed. And Sick the Mag is awesome. Like, they do a great job. They cover primarily Dragon Drives, which is cool. Luke, he did awesome in his class at Rocky Mountain Race Week. It was the first time he participated. I love Luke. I got a great video of him doing burnouts in Mexico on the street in front of the Bristow Fire Department in Bristow, Mexico, Oklahoma. And it was awesome. And he's a great dude, like super fun. And I'm glad he was on the trip. We had a very good time, that's for sure. But yeah, I think that, all of these, whether it's sick events, whether it's Midwest drags, whether it's, Rocky Mountain Race Week, whether it's the Redwood Rally, Big Sky, 666, Six Summer, all of these things, they're all different in some way or another, right? And they're all a good time, I'm sure. I'm sure people love doing every single one of them. I haven't done all of them, so I can't, say personally, but I've done a bunch, and I think they're super fun, and I'm glad people are doing them. But make no mistake that now, these things are on every corner, but that's not how it used to be. It used to be that you didn't just get one that was close to you, right? You had to drive, in our case, 1,350 miles, let's say, if it started in Kearney. And wherever Drag Week was never in the western half of the country. The furthest west it ever was the first year when it was in Kansas City. And otherwise, dude, it's always been, somewhere east more. So it's always been an ass whoop, whether we lived here in Texas or California, and we've done it in both locations,
Yeah. And that's the thing, to be honest with you. I always wanted to go on Rocky Mountain Race Week, but it was like, man, I got to drive all the way to Colorado before I can even start. So when they took over the route and did it in 2020 and, up through Texas and Oklahoma, the next year I was like, awesome, dude. It's right here in my back door. We have to go, And I think they picked up so many people that had that fear of, well, I don't want to have to drive all the way there. And, or the old fable stories of, well, you didn't get in, but if you just show up, maybe you can get in, or somebody drops out or whatever. That's a long way for a maybe.
It is.
So,
which is why at Rocky Mountain Race Week, if you've committed to showing up because you're on the wait list, you might get in.
Well, I tell you this much. Next year, Jake said he's coming for number 1 in Junior Street.
Yeah.
Or Young Guns, whatever
awesome.
you call it. Yeah.
Yes. No, Junior Street. Yeah. That's it. I love it.
He's ready. He's pumped. So let me ask you this.
Sure.
I got a question for you.
I have answers for you, my friend.
You've been around Dragon Drives probably more than most, right?
Yeah.
So what is your favorite class to watch at Rocky Mountain or any Dragon Drive? Is it the super fast guys? Is it the guys in the middle?
Yeah, well,
naturally or small block? Which one?
Honestly, like, it would be real easy to just say, like, the unlimited guys that are the fastest guys. Okay. That would be the easy thing. And those guys are fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. Okay. The Pro Street, the unlimited, those guys for sure. Rowdy Radial has gotten to be so popular, obviously, which is also funny. But the I don't know, like my favorites are probably the cars that are running in the like high sevens to low nines range. Any of those cars. Those cars tend to do a wheel stand comparatively. They tend to feel more like a car that, you know, you could attain, right? I mean, if I have to pick a car that just gives me lumber and makes me want it every single time I see it, I mean, it's not hard for anybody that knows me because I own a blue Camaro and grew up with a blue 68 Camaro as well. That, dude, I mean, look at this. Clint Sadowski's car, like that thing is just,
It's
come on.
beautiful.
It is. It's an absolutely gorgeous car. He's a hell of a human being. His daughter, Jasmine, Jazzy, 16 years old, was running that thing in the nines just on the Wastegate Springs this week. Did a great job. And it's just awesome. Like super fun to watch. Yeah. So that car really, really does it for me. But the reality is the variety is what's cool. You know, you go on, you know, this event and you see some really interesting things. And so it doesn't really matter what class they're in. There's going to be something that you just go, oh my God, look at this. I mean, look at this. This is a Honda Fit. Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, that's awesome.
All-wheel drive turbocharged Honda Fit that would give some people some fits, but nonetheless, a Honda Fit. I mean, come on, you know, that thing has got a wee little bitty engine in it. But there's so many cool things. I mean, you know, if you know, I mean, I'm going to show your boys again because this thing is, you know, referred to or called the panty dropper. And this thing is epic. I mean, look at that. Come on. How do you not like something that's carrying the wheels like that? I mean, that's how God intended drag cars to leave the starting line. I'm just saying it right now.
Amen.
So, yeah. So
on a 235, by the way, on a 235.
Yeah, on the wee little bitty tire. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. So Wickman says 850 class hands down. At 850 class is awesome, no doubt, no doubt. The Rebel Driver Scott says his favorites are the ones his friends are running in at that event, which is pretty interesting and good point. Steven says, or is asking, do most events have a hard tire class? No. I wouldn't say most. There are some that do. We started it years ago in Rocky Mountain Race Week. And I'm honestly not sure how many have it now. I know a few do, but we do allow hard tire cars. And that's been fairly popular, actually. We're also the only ones that, and I say we, it's not my event, it's Matt's, but we all feel like we have ownership in it. The road weekers get to make passes down the drag strip at Rocky Mountain Race Week as well. So it's as time allows, but in the last few years, it's been that at least 4 of the days they get to make runs when it gets later and there's, you know, less cars and downtime and what have you. We send them down the racetrack and they have a great time getting to say what their cars run, which is awesome. The Lycan saying that the new Supra lined up with a 30s hot rod is just the best. Dude, that new Supra ran 1130 or something in the quarter. Like the thing hauls ass. And it's so wee little bitty. It's crazy. So yeah, that thing is awesome. Eric Huff, Sadowski's Camaro is on my top 10 favorites of all time. Of course. You know, no doubt there's just, there's so much going on there. It's great. You know, I don't want people to, I want people to walk away from this show and I want them to have a better understanding of what's going on. I don't want it to be a bitch session, but I'm going to call people out when there's something that they've said that isn't right? Or when people have a misunderstanding about something. One of the things somebody just sent me a message about was, you know, why are the rules so different between Rocky Mountain Race Week or Race Week and, like Sick Week and Drag Week? And the honest answer is because the guys at Hot Rod didn't know how to make rules when they made them. So they've caused way more issues than anybody needs to have to run these kinds of events. There were, literally just a million rules for no good reason. Matt wanted his to be completely different. Several of the others have followed suit in that he wanted it to be the least amount of rules possible and do like modern drag racing does, which is to create classes based on tire sizes and weights, which makes it very simple and stuff that people understand, and it makes it so people don't have to change their car in order to go run in it. So that's a big deal. Somebody just asked me that, so there's your answer. The future of Dragon Drives, I think you're going to see more events before you see fewer. I think you're going to see some of the ones that have popped up recently and that will pop up over the next year or two probably fade away after a couple of years. This is not easy. Matt and June spend an exorbitant amount of their year planning for each of these events. And I know that the people that are, have run Drag Week for all the years and all of those things are, also, they work their asses off. Like, this is not an easy thing to do. So, keep that in mind when you're going and doing them. I did all the routes for Rocky Mountain Race Week this year, and day one, drive one was, it was 350 miles. There was no way around that. That's how far it was. But it also, there was a construction thing that just started literally 3 days before that nobody knew about. We've had massive storms here in North Texas in the last month or so. So there were a few roads that used to be good that had some heaving and stuff because of so much water. Ryan knows, like, where he's at. You live out in the country, your roads change every week.
One of my roads in the neighborhood washed out. Like it just washed out. Had a sinkhole. It's all sand. It just is what it is,
But so there were some people that were not happy with me after day one. And I'm a guy that takes it to heart. So it just makes me mad and sad and, disappointed because, dude, I have a jillion hours in doing those routes and then hauling mom and dad and the dog with me for 2 days to go pre-run them all and, and doing all that. And I made them as accurate as humanly possible. There were some people that got confused between County Road 121 and State Highway 121. That's not my problem, especially when I in bold put County Road 121. But again, the day one, I was mopey about it and it hurt my feelings and I was mad and whatever. Cause I'm that guy. But day two and day three, I had people come up to me who had recently been on other events who said, Chad, these are the best instructions we've had in forever. This is amazing. We love the route. Everything's great. Oh my God, we got to go to Yellow Belly, whatever. And so they were tickled pink and that made me feel better. So I was glad. So to those people that, gave me a little attaboy every once in a while, somebody needs to pat everybody on the head, and let them know they did a good job, unless it's Neil. Please do not encourage him or I'll never hear the end of it, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say I saw some posts, oh man, these Texas roads, they're horrible. Oklahoma roads are horrible. I'm like, look, here's the deal, man. You are in a Dragon Drive. You were in a car that's a race car. It should be a race car. Some of them are just regular street cars. Guess what? The ride is not good on any road you're on. And that was the challenge you accepted when you took on a Dragon Drive. So
right.
The last thing that should come out of anybody's mouth, and I'm going to say it because it drives me nuts, is bitching about a road.
Right. And it's not my road. I didn't pay the goddamn thing. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, somebody said, "Oh, Colorado roads are so much nicer." Yeah, well, all your tracks are closed down or temporarily down at the moment. So guess what? You
Right.
want to go racing? Can't do it in Colorado. It is
Right.
what it is. God, man,
I
people will cry about anything.
Oh my God, yes. People are whiny bitches. Pat Cook, the funniest complaint I heard about the directions was that they were too detailed. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I,
saw
I
that
heard
too.
that actually. There were a couple of people that complained that they were too detailed, and I'm like, hold on a second. All I did was literally in 1.7 miles turn left onto XYZ. In 9.7 miles, turn right on ABC. Like that's
Yeah,
what the instructions were, except under the there were some times where I was like, oh, this explains things, Pat. This explains things. There were some times where I was like, dude, after you make the corner here, on your right hand side is a giant wrecking yard full of square bodies. Well, you know what? If that's not the detail you want, go race in somebody else's event because you're not welcome here. Because if you're not my kind of people that wants to know about a field full of square bodies, then you could go somewhere else. I would have said it even if they were Fords. And everybody knows Ford circles the problem right up front. So don't even
that's
give me.
right.
So I was being nice. But and restaurants. I'm fat and I like cars. So hello, I'm going to tell you all the good places to
Yeah.
go, you know. But Billy Bob's was great too. Billy Bob's was hilarious because they gave us permission to get pictures in front of their sign. They just didn't have the authority to do so, which was funny because the parking lot under their sign isn't their parking lot, apparently. I don't care. We made it through there. We'll never go back to Billy Bob's. They,
Yeah.
you know,
Hey.
GFYS, my friends. Yeah.
It is what it is. The pictures, see, here's the deal. The caveat to that is the pictures of everybody flipping off Billy Bob's are priceless. You know,
Oh, right.
in the
100%.
moment it might have sucked, but the event that came from it is amazing. So,
Oh,
you
yes.
know,
Agreed. Agreed.
I
Okay,
think
now
what
I
everybody
really
needs
love
is
this one from Lycan. Look at this. I've done rallies where the navigator is blind and has Braille instructions. I wonder if yours would translate to Braille. I'm sure they would because they were very, like, again, it was in 9.7 miles, turn right on ABC, and 1.6 miles, turn left on XYZ. Like, that's how they were. Except, like, at checkpoints, it would say pull into the second driveway, which, by the way, oh my God, bless your little hearts. Some of you, there are on the, if you don't know, because you haven't been on a drag and drive, the instructions, your route instructions actually have a sample picture of what you're supposed to do with your car. Okay. And the reality is that I'm a really anal person. Okay. I'm the guy that is a little OCD about shit being straight and oriented right and all that. You get cars parked crooked inside the garage, burn it to the ground. Okay. Or fix it. One or the other. I can't stand it. Okay. So when I show you, when I say pull in the second driveway and loop through the parking lot and then park here, and I show the car and a picture of it with Otis standing next to it, because Otis was with the car. There were no people in any of the pictures. It was all Otis. Okay. Yeah, that's what I mean. And so people went the total opposite directions. People parked on the other sides of checkpoints. Like, it was like, oh my God, again, bless your little hearts, you poor bastards. But it was funny. It did make me laugh. I'm not gonna lie.
it looks like Neil. I don't know if this is Sabo or Sabo. If it's
Sabo, yeah,
Sabo,
that's Neil.
no.
That's Neil from the live. Yeah.
I know, but is
Oh,
it Sabo? Or
yes.
Sabo?
I don't know.
It's,
Is it Neil Sabo
he's kind
tonight
of
or Neil Sabo? That's true. Hey, Neil
hey,
Sabo in the
he's kind of busting
house.
your balls. He's kind of busting
Yeah,
your
that's
balls
true.
right now.
He is usually Neil Sabo. He is. He is. The alter ego. I'm sorry, my brain wasn't working, Ryan. My brain wasn't
It's all
working.
right.
I
I got
forgot
him in
Neil
the.
wasn't there for our whole thing where we made up his whole second life. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's see. If you're doing Miles of Mayhem, be prepared to clean bugs off your car after each drive. Oh yeah, dude. Trust me, the
2,
van.
2.0, same thing, buddy. 2.0
Oh yeah,
because
it's
I got pictures from PJ Daily of how many bugs they caught in the scoop on the car. I mean, we're talking grasshoppers this big, like
oh
just
yeah.
massive.
Oh, it was nuts. Um, let's see. Oh, I didn't even know about this one. Pat Cook's telling me the hair salon next to the snow cone place was also pissed because the snow
Yes.
cone place was a thing. I didn't know that. That
Yes.
one
Yes.
I did not know, but that's awesome. Um, you can only do so much, but whatever.
There's only so many
Um,
asses you can kiss before you do an event, and
yeah,
you kissed
exactly.
as many as you could. It is what it
Yep,
is.
exactly. 100%.
Hey, here's a question for you.
Answer.
So, out of all the many Dragon Drives you have been a part of,
Right.
who that has done Dragon Drives in the past but no longer does them do you miss the most? And I think I know the answer.
Wow. Actually, that's tough because the easy answer would be Larson, right? That's the easy answer.
I thought that was going to be the answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the easy answer, and we've had discussions on that.
Yeah.
I will tell you that for me, one of them, and there's, if I thought about this for a second, there's going to be several, but one of them that's big on there besides Larson is Doug Klein. Dude, Doug Klein, who has a new car and is, I'm hoping, going to be out next year with it. Dude, Doug Klein is one of the funniest guys you will ever meet. He and Larry and I are like the Three Stooges. We were working on Larry's Chevy 2 one time in the parking lot. I guess we were on drag week. We're in the parking lot of, no, were we or was it Doug's car? Maybe it was Doug. I don't know. Not important. One of our cars we were working on in the parking lot of the Best Western Hotel. And in typical Chad, Larry, and Doug fashion, you know, we are oblivious to the rest of the world around us, really. And we just go on and rant about dumb crap because it's us. And then the crowd gathers and they just feed the fire, and it's just not great. So we tried out 3 different timing lights on the car, on Doug's car. It was Doug's car. Trying to determine whether the car was wrong or his timing light was wrong. We never came to a great conclusion. But God, it was funnier than hell. We laughed our asses off. I mean, there were, I'm no bullshit, 75 or 100 people standing around the car in the parking lot, just listening to us be idiots. And it was a riot. So yeah, Doug's one of them. Biggin, Eric Yost is a very good friend of mine. I love Biggin to death.
Mhm.
He just doesn't have time to do them as much, but he's going to do, some more, for sure. So I will tell you, the Dragon Drive driver I miss the most is me. Um, and my shit is going under the knife. And so next year, I will absolutely 100%. I was planning on going on Drag Week this year for the anniversary, but unfortunately, Rocky Mountain Race Week is going to end up being on the exact same time frame, and which was not the original plan. Matt did not try and do that on purpose. There just wasn't much choice. And so Matt and I were both supposed to be racing at Drag Week, actually. And so I'm disappointed in that, but we'll do it next year. It'll be good. So,
Hey, well, guess what? I was going to say, if you want to race one, you just pretty much put a young gun in training to handle the cameras, and you got Sabo and Sabo,
that's
right?
true. Yeah.
I mean, they can run all that. So
The 3 of
basically,
them should be able to handle it. That's a good point.
the 3 of
Yes.
them can knock it out.
Now, remember, folks, too, so we have Rocky Mountain, or well, no, we have Race Week coming up later this year. That's in September. And then next year, the details of which are still on their way, but next year is going to be the ultimate, mega week of Dragon Drives, where Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week are going to happen at the same time on the same routes at the same racetrack. So 2 complete events, 300 cars each. It's going to be insane. So I won't be racing in that one because I will be announcing and managing 2 teams of live stream folks to put on this whole damn thing. It's going to be just a wow.
You going to be announcing morning or afternoon?
I don't know yet. I don't know. We don't know yet. We haven't worked out those details. We'll see.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Eric Huff saying, "See you at Mo Party." Yes, I will be there. Let's see. Lycan says, "Can you please relay to Adam how great he does when someone can't see the cars? His coverage is fire, and I wish I knew where to tip." Just the tip is all Adam accepts, so it's totally fine. Yeah, and like Neil says, if we tell him how good he does, his head will only get too big for his body. So we have to knock him down. Every compliment requires a criticism as well. Like it's a very, very, very balanced thing you got to do. But I will feed him that slowly, just to make sure it doesn't go too far. It'll be good.
Gotta keep him grounded.
Yeah, Carl B, the 2025 event looks like it'll be a great event for spectators with all the nonstop action. It will be. It's going to be nuts because literally from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m., there's going to be drag racing going on at each of these racetracks. So it's going to be cool for sure. Barn also relayed to Adam not to schedule his podcast at the same time as yours. I know, I saw that, and I'll let him know. But okay, what else? Do you got any other questions that you want to fire away at me there?
Yeah, I do.
Brian?
You love Rocky Mountain Race Week. You love Rocky Mountain Race Week. Okay.
Of course.
So if you could change one thing about it, what would you change?
Oh. If I could change one okay, so the easy answer is, and this goes to every drag and drive on the planet, is if you could change one thing about any drag and drive, what it would be to get rid of the whiny bitches. But besides that, God, if I was going to add something to Rocky Mountain or change something about Rocky Mountain Race Week,
or add to it.
Yeah, add to it, change, whatever. Man, that's a tough
weather.
Oh, the weather. Wickham. We've had 1 year of fucking hotter than hell weather, and everybody acts like it's like the worst thing ever. Jesus. I was gonna say, I can't say, because if I do, somebody's gonna do this, and I already am trying to implement. So I can't say this one thing, but I will say another thing is, Neil says more sleep. We get more sleep on this than anyone I've ever done. But yes, I agree with you on that. Big Block Bob says a free nitrous vendor. Nothing wrong with that. Although I think that's funny coming from the NA Big Block guy. So that, I mean, you see the irony there, Bob. Mm-hmm. Maybe he would be a nitrous Big Block guy if he had free nitrous. Maybe that's it.
Ooh,
so the my big thing would be and Doug just put it up there. No pro mods. Now, Rocky Mountain Race Week doesn't typically have that problem as much. Quite frankly, I'm not sure why the heaviest of hitters sort of run Race Week or Rocky Mountain Race Week once or twice, and then they're gone for a while and they come back. I don't understand, because it's the only one that gives away real money. And when I say real money, I mean like $5, $10, $15, $25, $30,000. Like people are winning real money at Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week. So that's surprising to me. But yes, I don't believe that pro mods have a place anywhere in Drag and Drive, in my opinion. So, and remember, this is the guy that built the S10 with Larson. But to set the record straight, Larson and I built the S10 100%, as we are the stupidest people in drag racing. We built the S10 100% to send a message and to have them outlaw it. We wanted them to have us run it one time and then outlaw any car like it. And instead they grabbed hold of it, and I don't get it. But whatever. That's their deal.
Yeah.
So
I have a caveat. I have a caveat to that, though. I agree with you, but from a spectator standpoint of when you guys were doing that, like when I was watching it live and Larson was running that truck, I loved it. So I get it. I
do too.
But on the flip side, me being the street guy that I am, I couldn't stand when I went street racing and somebody showed up with a pro mod style vehicle.
Right.
So it's
I
it's a
agree.
catch-22.
Yes. Okay, so Lycan brings this up. Rock and Roll Race Week, where there's a concert at the end of each day while you work on your stuff. That's not a bad idea. And I will say that we have talked very recently about how we would put together a concert, not every night, but during the trip. So, yeah, that would be a cool thing. Carl B says, what about a bounce house or a bounce castle and petting zoo? I'm in on all those things too. Yeah.
But if it's 2.0, it needs to be a water slide, not a bounce house. That's just a hot box.
I love where your head's at.
Yeah.
Big Block Bob says, I do Big Block Power Adder at Drag Week for that reason. My co-pilot talked me out of Outlaw Street. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Neil is right. This one. No Holiday Inn shitty ass pillows. Dude, Holiday Inn, what have you done? Your pillow, they have the audacity to put like pillowcases that have the like say soft and firm on their pillows. Dude, they wouldn't know a firm pillow if it hit them in the ass. I'm telling you what.
That's why you gotta stay at the Marriott.
I don't make the reservations. I just stay in the hotel that June gives me. Oh my God. Let's see.
Squirt guns.
I love it. Eric Huff says, yeah, the NA guy asked for free nitrous. That's pure drag racing. Everyone wants to see everyone have a good time. Hats off to you, Mr. NA. Yes, I agree. Lycan, you could run the stage. That's true. You wouldn't be alone, dude. There's several audio people that are on Rocky Mountain Race Week that you would be really wanting to talk to. As Big Block Bob says, if the vendor provides, it's easier than finding small town places for retail. I've paid on odd years when I spray, even years I did NA. You're 100% right, and I'm intimately familiar with the free nitrous program. I was part of that for years. You guys didn't know that, but I'm the one that transported it many years from LS Fest, actually in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where all of the nitrous came from NOS, and hauled it with my good friend, the late great Monty Smith, cross country to the start of Drag Week when I would leave. When I would leave LS Fest from announcing for 4 days or 3 days, and then head that way. So yeah. So I am intimately familiar, and that would be great. Doug DeLay, how many rules have you influenced for change? In Drag and Drive, honestly, it's the one I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to make a guesstimate, but without really thinking about it. But I'm going to say 6 to 8. But I have 7 rules in 6 sanctioning bodies outside of Drag and Drive that are rules and or sections of rule books in a couple of cases that are because of me. So, yeah, because most of y'all aren't thinking right. Speaking of which, so that's one of the things that I wanted to mention. We've done all these podcasts on Drag and Drives, and we have, given advice and all these things, and people overall have been pretty good about taking it. But I realized a couple of things this week that made me realize people need a couple other bits of advice. So here's a couple of things, folks. This is a cell phone. Okay. It has a thing on it. If you're an iPhone user, like, an actual intelligent, good human being, then you have Apple Maps, right? So, and you have Google Maps for those Neanderthals, whatever. But when Chad gives you the directions, if you spend like a little bit of time, then you can actually plot the instructions and everything on your map on your phone. Just saying. Okay. And then I know, amazing. Okay. So that's number one. Number two, There are all kinds of them. This just happens to be NBC5, which is from up here where Ryan and I are from. But they have an app. And when you open it up, it tells you the weather. Okay. And here's the thing. So here's what's awesome. This thing will tell you what the weather is going to be like for several days. It's amazing.
So wait a minute. Are you saying it can see into the future?
It can see into the future. So if you use this, okay, it's entirely possible for you to show up an event and not be surprised by the fact that it's cold or hot. I know, right?
Yeah, I can't. I'm trying right now.
But that's the thing. It's the thing. Okay. Wow. So just saying, okay. Yes. So it's, I know, weird.
Wow.
Okay. But it does it. There's also an app, and this one I'm not poking fun, but Air Density Online. If you are not aware of it, go to Air Density Online. It will tell you what the DA is at each racetrack that you're going to. It's like got almost every racetrack in the country. So drag strips or not drag strips, actually. So yeah. But here's the other thing. So a lot of people this year, and I don't mean this year on Rocky Mountain Race Week, I mean this year on drag-in drives in general, that I've talked to, people that have had trouble, haven't been able to finish, or it was just a grueling week of working on the car. Trust me, I've had those weeks. I know it. Okay, I get it. There have been plenty of times where I spent way more time on the side of the road than I did actually going down any drag strip or any road. But there are a bunch of people who have spent real time. I mean, lots and lots of time. Not people that have had no time to finish because they started building their cars 3 weeks ahead of time like I would do. Okay, no. I'm talking about people that actually have had their car ready and all of this. They have spent a huge amount of time at the drag strip, right? Testing and testing and testing and testing, trying to get 200s quicker or 300s quicker or whatever. But every time they went to the racetrack that was 50 miles from their house, they trailered their shit there. And within 20 miles of the first, on the very first day of driving, yeah, they go down the road and go, I wonder why my electric fan, I don't understand. They worked fine before. Like, yeah. Dude, I mean, you got to drive your shit, or you got to know, and you either got to drive your shit or you got to know what you're doing. And I don't mean to say that like I'm bagging on you guys, but I mean, on numerous occasions, I put a brand new car together or a brand new combo in the car and left with less than 20 miles on it, including chassis dyno time, and drove it all the way to Kearney, Nebraska. So, and it was fine. And you can too. But dude, if your shit is on the edge or any of that stuff, man, drive it, get it ready for the road. That is the harder part. You spend way more time doing that than you do going down the racetrack.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's in the name. It's like 50-50. It's drag and drive events, right?
Yeah.
It's still the term I'm using anymore. Yeah. I know that, yeah, but fine example. PJ was trying to get the Fairmont ready last year for 2.0 for race week, right, in September. Right. And they were thrashing like crazy to get that car done. They got down to the last few things and they said, man, we're throwing in the towel. We're just going to miss it. We're going to go ahead and go, but we're not going to take the car. So he forfeited his spot at race week because the car wasn't done. And he didn't want to chance it because he didn't have time to test it. This go around, the car was done. They drove it everywhere. They drove it to the track an hour and 20 minutes from their house. They raced it, drove it home, drove it back to the track, raced it, drove it home, drove it everywhere they went. Yeah. They went in that car to make sure that everything was okay. And they fought problems early. They had to, they had to get parts and they had to fix things. They had to change things and they finally got it right. And then when they got on the trip, they really didn't have as much seat time at the track as they did on the road. So they learned the woes of the car on the track, and then they had to fight through the woes on the track,
right.
So, and it's better to chase the woes at the track than it is to chase the driving portion of it, in my opinion.
I agree. And I know that that's hard to swallow for some people because You're like, yeah, but dude, you got to make passes. And you're right. Like both of them are important. But the thing is, it's way less efficient working on a car on the side of the road to make it drive down the road than it is to work on a race car in a pit spot at the racetrack to make it go down the racetrack. Right. And quite frankly, I mean, I'm not asterisk, do what you want, but don't take my advice as condoning anything bad. But if you're at the racetrack and you know that you have an hour and a half before you get to run, but you've just made some major change, well, I would go make a quick Mexico trip and do some testing and then come back to the racetrack before it's time for your run. I'm just saying, right? Oh, the other thing. Oh my God. If you're watching and you could use this, please chime in the chat or the comments. Like, seriously. In my head, I'm saying all the things I can't say out loud. Okay, so that's why there's a pause there.
You putting comma asshole? Yeah, putting comma
all
asshole.
All the things, the R words, the M words, all the words.
Yeah. Right.
If you have to go down a drag strip with a laptop sitting next to you on the seat because you don't know how to data log properly, you're an idiot. I said it. I said it out loud. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. My inside voice is now my outside voice. Dude, seriously, if you don't know how to make your Holly automatically data log without you doing anything, pushing buttons or any of that, then hit me up. I will show you guys how to do that, like right here on a podcast, whatever you want. I have at every racetrack I have been to this year, except on Rocky Mountain Race Week, because I just, people didn't seem to be very receptive. I have taught people how to do this at Las Vegas for LS Fest West. I had 3 guys that wanted to know how to do this because I yelled at them about having laptops on the seat while making passes, which is not allowed. Okay. That thing will bean you and kill you if shit goes bad. I told them I would show them how to do it. I told them I would do it after the drivers meeting that we had for our drag and drive class at LS Fest West, and ended up with like 15 people standing around the roof of one guy's car while I showed them on his laptop how to, trigger data logs. So just so you know, like the way that I do them, the way that I like to do mine and that I have it set up in all of my stuff is so that when you hit 80% throttle position, it automatically starts a data log. And that data log lasts for 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, depending on what I set it at and what the car is. And here's why you want that. Number one, because then you don't have to push a button. You don't have to do anything. The laptop doesn't need to be in the car. None of those things. And when you go into the water box and you jump on the throttle to do the burnout, it starts a data log, right? So you get it coming out of the water, you get the idling up to the starting line, clearing it out, whatever you do, you make your run, and then it automatically turns the data log off when it gets to the 1.5 minutes or whatever, right? Done, okay? Here's why this is great, because if you're only data logging on the drag strip, you're doing it wrong if you're an EFI guy, okay? So you should be going down the freeway, cruising along, and you should, if you go, man, this thing has a stumbly spot right here, which we all know, right? You get into one spot and you're like trying to accelerate to pass or something, and it's like light throttle and it's got a little burble there, whatever. All you do is click that bitch into neutral and give it a wah-bah, right? And then right back into gear, or just wood the thing real quick and then drive it, and you'll get 2 minutes of data log, okay? And then you could go and look at that when you get home and go, oh, no wonder my tune-up is jacked in this one little spot, and you fix it. Like, it's great. And then you don't have a damn laptop floating around in a car with you. It is unreal, the number of you guys that do this, and it drives me absolutely batshit crazy. So don't be that guy. And again, if you don't know how to do this, it's okay. I will never put your name out there in public. Just hit me up and I'll show you how to do it. It's not hard. And it could be throttle position. It can be a jillion inputs that can make it. It could be a button on the dash if you wanted it to be, but why? It literally could be like every time you arm your nitrous, every time, like, there's a jillion ways to do it, is the point. So don't be dumb.
But
sorry.
There's one issue with all of that. That was great. It was great. But how are you going to know if your manifold pressure is too high? Just going to say, I'm just saying, like, how are you going to know if the manifold pressure is too high? Laptop's got to be open.
No, it does not. You know how you know? Because it's a Holley or it's any or a Haltech or any of those, and you set a safety, and when it gets too high and it shuts it off, you know it was too high. Thanks, Ryan, for coming to the show tonight.
Come on, man. Come on, man. You got to shut it and go, shut up. You know, just keep going.
Oh, you're killing me.
Yeah,
killing me, Smalls. I do have to say that if you have not done, so I hope everybody's taking away from this show the way it was intended, which is two things. Number one, Dragon Drives are awesome. There's a lot more history to them that you may have not understood or realized. Tom Bailey did not invent them, nor did he make them popular. He also is just one of the many people doing good things for Dragon Drives, and we thank him for it. But he is not the only one. There are many of us that have done many things, and I don't say that because we need some pat on the back. I just want everybody to understand what has led us to here, right? I want you guys to I want you to want to do Dragon Drive events. And if you don't want to race, like competitively race, but you'd love to do the trip and be able to say, oh, dude, my junk ran 1180 at, Ennis. But that's all you care about, right? It's just being able to say what your car ran. Then, dude, be a road weaker or a sick ward. Well, they don't get to race, but that I know of. But if you want to race, come on, Rocky Mountain Race Week or Race Week. If you just want to do the power toury part of it and like cruise with everybody and be in the club and get your free shirts and your free entry and your lunches and all those things, you should do it. It's super fun. And it's worth it. Even when you were disappointed to not be racing, you guys had a really good time on Road Week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So,
I mean, that's what we had to do in 2021. The car we were going to take dropped a valve. We put the motor in it the night before, and it'd been a valve on the way to Oklahoma. So we had to turn around, come back, get in the. We got a couple of hot rods, but they were still just whatevers, and we just did the road week portion of it because we got beat out. But we enjoyed every minute of it. Like, it was a blast.
Well, and I hope that people out there that have done them maybe get a little bit more appreciation from if they watch this, and people that haven't, I hope you get it. We're talking about all the competition factor and all that stuff, but the reality is, like, I'm going to show some of the photos from Ryan that are that, I mean, you guys will you'll see, you'll dig these because
Thanks,
there's more to it than than just than the competition, right? So these are just some of the photos from Ryan through the week. Here these dudes are thrashing on this thing. That looks like it's in the shutdown area at I think at Ennis.
It is. It's an Ennis. Yeah. It shredded the belt and wrapped it all around everything. So
yeah. So I mean, these guys are having a good time. There's absolutely no doubt. And it's it's one of those deals where this is the kind of that here we are, O'Reilly Auto Belts. Yeah, I mean, come on. And the stories, I mean, dude, I can't even tell you all the cool stuff. I'm going to tell you a day in the life of me and Neil here in a minute to end the show. But, one of the things on Rocky Mountain Race Week, I mean, note my two hats and the strap in front of the face. I mean, it's such a look. One of the things is there are free hot dogs and free drinks on Rocky Mountain Race Week at the Rocky Mountain Race Week bus. So I was preparing to acquire a dog, and you made sure to catch the entire escapade of getting the dog. So here's, for those that want to know, here it is. It's going in the bun, right? And I mean, because we have a good time. That's what we do. Yeah. We have a good time. Or Jake, Sunset, Fit, Chevelle. The black and white is good. That car is sexy also. The only thing wrong with it is it needs a front bumper. Yes or no, ladies and gentlemen, 67 and 8 Camaros should or should not have a bumper on them at all times. But if you believe that they should always have a bumper, put yes. If you believe they should not, then you put no. If you put no, you're wrong, but that's okay. I'm asking your opinion, so it's good. The organ grinder is great. The Stute is rad. The bubble helmet is just epic. And the thing pulls a wheelie every single time. It's greatness. There is no doubt. So I got to tell you my day. Me and Neil had an epic day one day on Rocky Mountain Race Week. So we were so just if you guys don't know, the other thing is that we did a fundraiser for the Wicked Chick Awards. This is why one of the reasons I'm so passionate about Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week is because it was Daphne's favorite events. She raced in them. And, you know, after she died, as well as Morgan Hansen, who's a very good friend of ours, she died of cancer on the same day that Daphne died, but a year later. We do the Wicked Chick Awards in honor of the two of them. And there are this great group of women that come out and race. It's amazing. We give away different awards and trophies and all these great prizes. And donations come in to give cash. They get parts. They get all kinds of neat stuff. It's really, really fun. And we love it. But one of the things we also did to raise money this year is I had bought an ice cream freezer, like one of those ones with the slidey top, like at 7-Eleven or whatever. I paid like $20 for it at auction. And the thing worked great. Like we plugged it into the shop. It was rad. However, those are not meant to go outside when it's 111,000 degrees outside, or when the sun is shining directly through the glass top of them. All those things, they don't like. So the ice cream was a huge hit on day one, but the freezer was having a really hard time. So on drive day, on Monday, we did the whole route until we got into Sherman. And then Neil and I were going down 75 instead of going the route so that we could go buy a new freezer. Okay. So we were hunting for a freezer. I looked on Marketplace, looked at stores, all this stuff. Ultimately, we decided that we were going to go to Walmart and we were going to buy this one for $165 because it was garage rated. So it was rated to be outside in 110 degree weather and still freeze ice cream. So we're like winning. So we're driving down the road and we're both hungry. And I said, let's go to a real lunch because we don't get those anymore this week. We're not getting real lunches, right? So we went to Lupe Tortilla in Allen, right? And so we get to Lupe Tortilla in Allen. We walk in the door. We're like, we're sitting at the bar. And I said, again, this isn't going to happen all week long, so I'm getting a damn margarita. And Neil was like, hell yes. And so the dude comes up, asks us if we want anything to drink. I say, I want this margarita. Neil says he wants this other margarita. The guy looks at us and says, small or large? I said, you really have to ask that question. And the next thing you know, we have two very large margaritas sitting in front of us and chips and salsa that we are eating like it's our job, right? So a little while later, we order our lunch and we each order food and everything. We eat the food and we're sitting there having a normal Chad and Neil conversation, which means it's too animated and louder than it should be for wherever the hell we're at. There are a bunch of people sitting on the one side of the bar and a few people on the other. And, you know, but we're at the other end. We're not bothering anybody. We're just having a good time. So bartender asks us some questions and stuff, and we're telling him we're on a work trip and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And it's time, like we've been sitting there for a while waiting on a check, haven't got a check yet. And we're done and we're ready to go to Walmart. So I'm like, hey, dude, we're ready to roll. We'll take the check anytime. Home Slice is like, oh no, your lunch has been paid for. I'm like, wait, what? And he goes, yeah, your lunch has been paid for. So me and Neil immediately are looking around for race weekers or road weekers or something, right? And we don't see anybody. And I'm like, were they car guys? And the guy goes, definitely not car guys. And I'm like, were they hot girls? And he goes, definitely not hot girls. Damn. And so then we have no idea. To this day, we have no clue who bought, but somebody bought us like $13 margaritas. We each had one. Okay. And like a $15 lunch. So, I mean, we're talking like $75 with the tip, right? At least. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's awesome, right? So we're like, hey, the day is looking up. We know where we're going for a freezer. The road has been nice. Like, hey, what's not to love, right? So we get to Walmart and we walk in the door at Walmart and there is a big kiddie pool, like a blow up kiddie pool. It's like 10, 12 feet long, 5 feet wide. I am drawn to it like a moth to a flame. Okay. Neil is doing everything he can to talk me out of it. He's like, think about us having one more dumb thing to set up, like begging me basically not to do it. In the meantime, he has identified the fact that they have squirt guns at the Walmart, right? So he distracts me with the squirt guns. So we go and we buy ourselves some squirt guns because we have some people we're going to target, okay, during the week. And it's 11,000 degrees outside, so who's going to argue with us? And we have lots of ice cold water in the cooler to refill the squirt guns with, right?
Perfect.
So we get some squirt guns and some other ancillary crap, and we go walking through, and I'm, telling Neil where to go, and he's not listening to me and going where it says home appliances. And I'm like, it's supposed to be on aisle A24. And he's like, you mean the one right here under the sign that says home appliances? And I'm like, yes, that one. So we go to JC Williams. The new ice cream freezer's door was always fun to open the rest of the week. It was. It's a really good freezer, so it pulls a vacuum. Dude, that son of a bitch, I'm not kidding you. I had to like man up to open that.
Give me ice cream.
Oh, yeah, I know. It was like, I mean, it was insane. So anyway, so I say where the fridge is or freezer is. Neil's like, you mean this freezer? Instead of it being $165, it said $112 or $113. I can't remember. We're going to say $113. It said it was on rollback for $113. I'm like, yes. So we pick it up and we set it on the cart. And at first we start to lay it down. And I'm like, oh, we can't lay it down because then we can't plug it in for a few hours because it's got to stand up like this side up. So we have this thing standing on the cart. So it's way taller than me, which I know I'm not tall, but still. And so we get this thing and we get more stuff and we wheel it through the damn Walmart. So we get up to the self-check. And before we get to the self-check, I ask a nice young woman if they carry dry ice. She did not think so and told me to ask somebody else. So I asked that person. She said, no, they did not carry dry ice. Because I was thinking about giving the old freezer a little boosteroo to start up, right? Like a little, little tube. Mm-hmm. So then I scan the Chingus and it says $165. And I'm like, this thing's supposed to be $113 to the lady. And the lady's like, very nice. And she said, oh, let me see. So she's looking at others like barcodes on it to try and scan. I'm like, it was rollback. And I said, do you need me to go take a picture, of the thing? And she's like, no. And she, waves a manager over. He comes over and he asks, he's also very nice, Meantime, some chatty other Walmart employee starts talking Neil up and is thanking him for buying him a freezer for his birthday or something. It was awesome. So we were laughing at that. Dude had a crazy accent. I could understand half of what came out of his mouth. It took me a minute of staring at him until it started to all come into play. But anyway, so Home Slice manager is like, I don't understand. And he's looking at this. And all of a sudden he looks up on the box, up on this corner of the box. And when he looked up at it, there was this moment, his mouth opened and then like angels sang, and it was a whole thing because it was a clearance tag that said $99. Exactly what I said. I'm like, dude, I'd take 2 of them for that. So I know. So $99. So you know what I did? Do you know what I did? I tried, but they said no, it was because it had dents in it. And I said, that's my speed. But here's the thing. When it popped up, that thing on the screen, the one that says, do you want the 2-year warranty? You know what I said? Hell yeah, I want the 2-year warranty, baby.
Yes, I do.
So I splurged. It was $10.68, but I got it. 2-year warranty. Covered. And Neil was like, do we want the 2-year warranty? I'm like, we're hauling it around in a van for a week. Yes, we want the 2-year warranty.
Does a bear take a dump in the woods? Yes.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. So we roll out and we are like kids in a candy store. We just got drinks and lunch paid for, and we saved $65, $66 on a freezer for the ice cream. I mean,
and now if you're wondering, do you go on a Dragon Drive? The answer is absolutely
right. Yes. And I mean, it was perfect, right? We're like, dude, this is a day. I mean, come on. And we proceeded to go buy more ice cream. We proceeded to load the shit out of that thing. I may or may not have injured myself. And Neil says he has the video of me on one of those old lady carts in the Walmart. But he said he can't upload it. Dude, if you send it to me, I will upload it. I promise you. But yes, it was, the freezer did get down to negative 20 degrees, 20 degrees below the zero, my friend. Yeah, it worked like a champ. We sold like $1,100 worth of ice cream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And when I say sold, I bought all the ice cream, and me and Neil bought all the ice cream, shoved it in the freezer, and we had a sign up there in a box, duct taped to it because pro. And it just said, free ice cream, make a donation. And dude, it was so cute. There was actually some change in there, from a couple of little kids that insisted. That's awesome. A jillion $1 bills reminded me of my college days. And then also just a ton of 5s and 10s and 20s as well. I shouldn't say a ton, but they were in there too. It was really cool. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I left the change. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll carry cash.
That's awesome.
But the ice cream was great.
It was great. It was great. There was some leftover ice cream, like not a lot, but a few things. My dad is an ice creamaholic. So when we took it back to the shop, or when I took it to the shop and set it in the shop, I'm like, oh, by the way, it has ice cream in it. My dad was like, there was like a little glint of a tear and the sparkle, No. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So yeah, so you get that. So here's the bad part. Well, now I can't not bring ice cream. There's going to be ice cream at every Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week now because I'm screwed, So I was telling Matt that, well, I have a vintage RV trailer that was Daphne's, and Mom has been saying forever, oh, you need to make it into a merch trailer and this and that. It's going to become a merch and ice cream trailer for us, for the Bang Shift, Triple B, Wicked Chick, etc. brands. By the way, anybody that noticed this fine, I did it as a doble. I made this. Yep. And you soon will be
Did.
able to order one. At Ryan saw the shirts too. I have shirts. We're gonna have hats. We're gonna have all the things for Triple B
Slick.
and Bang Shift and Wicked Chicks and all of them. So
Hell yeah. Look, you already got Doug wants one. There you go. Mark them down. Done.
Yes. And this thing, I carried this thing all week with me. You can ask Neil. And I got to tell you, like, these things are not cheap, these stupid things. The only cheap place to buy these is at Buc-ee's that actually have something on them. These are not cheap. This one was cheap without like looking like crap. And yes, Power Shift as well. They're Wickman. But I didn't really have like big high hopes that it was going to be the greatest thing. And other than the straw being meh, it's great. Like it works really good. It seals good. It actually thermally does its chingus well. Like it stays cold. And I drank approximately 755 gallons out of that cup, 40 ounces at a time. So they will be available before too long. So don't you worry.
Sweet.
Let's see. JC Williams. Hey, Chad, I forgot to thank you the other day about letting us know about the clearance section at Summit. I scored some pistons and a C-clip eliminator kit at half price. Excellent job, my friend.
Scratching in the wind.
And I'm telling you, it's amazing because they actually had the parking lot closed on the backside, trying not to let you get there. You had to drive around the building. So if you don't know, like if you're at the Arlington Summit, which is the largest summit in the world, when you pull up and you're looking at the front entrance, which is on the corner of the building, if you just look down the building, the clearance, scratch and dent, returns, whatever it is, department is in the back there. And they have lots of deals and some weird stuff sometimes, but it's totally worth going. Yeah.
Yep, lots of good deals, and I'm telling you, for you Mopar guys, there's always Mopar stuff there. I don't know why, but there's always big block Mopar cams, heads, intakes. I mean, all kinds of big block Mopar stuff, headers. Like I don't know what Mopar guys ordered the stuff and then send it back or for whatever reason, but they have all kinds of stuff there, and I find stuff constantly. I always go there first. I go there first, and I spend 45 minutes going through the place. Then I go to the store.
Right, because you never know. You could find exactly the thing you want there.
Dude, Dave bought like
Neil says it's not as good as the OG in Akron. I argue you are wrong, Neil.
Well, I've never been to Akron, Neil. And is this Sabo or Sabo?
Yeah, well, it depends.
Which one am I
If he's being snarky, it's Sabo. See?
I was going to say, hey, I've never been to Akron, huh?
Yeah. Doug DeLay says he almost bought an engine back there in March. I tried to get Neil to buy one of those 1,000 horsepower 632s that had like some dings on it. Was like, what was it, Neil? Wasn't it $3,000 off or something like that?
$28,000.
Yeah. So yeah, and wasn't it
regularly like 33,
33? Yeah, that's right. So yeah, it was like $4,000 or $5,000 off. Yeah, it was right there in the front of the store.
No, I am not a Mopar guy.
I go there. Don't say that. That's not nice.
No, I don't.
You don't know him. What? Don't it? Come on, man. I have way too many Mopar friends. I'm sorry, I can't help it.
Give me a minute. I'm okay. No. I typically look for big block Chevrolet or small block Chevrolet parts or LS stuff. I find Mopar stuff for my great Mopar Northerners from Bad Tree Productions. If they're looking for something, I try to find them something because they're loopy in the head and try to make those things go fast.
God, yes. Chad from Square Body.
Yo, what up,
stuff. What is up, my brother?
It's the other Chad.
The other Chad, yes. Dude, I'm sorry, the Mopar, it's so easy. The Mopar guys, though, were really thrilled this year because I had Mopar specific checkpoint. A Mopar Chrysler Plymouth Tower, big giant ass tower in Bristow, Oklahoma. Those dudes were like all about it. Yeah, big time.
Eating it up. Ryan definitely was the cause of no parking. Shit. People don't need to know my secrets. Like, everybody has skeletons in the closet. Everybody has skeletons in the closet. And I'm not going to lie to you. If somebody had a 340 demon.
Oh, well, come on. That's a demon. That's
and
not
blue
a
with the
thing.
black
That's,
hood. I mean,
yeah.
come on.
I mean, that's I know where one is, but whatever.
How un-American would I be? Well, you know, we found that treasure chest of cars. Remember that guy had the demon, and I wanted it so bad.
I know.
Yeah.
I would. Okay.
It's okay, Eric. It's okay.
Hold
Eric.
on. Hold on. Hold on. I never thought about this until literally right this moment. Technically, I own a Mopar.
Oh
my God. I don't know how I feel about this.
Let's all have
Hold on. I need a moment alone.
Silence.
My D50. I mean, it's a Mitsubishi, but it's technically.
You do have a Dodge. Dang.
Oh my God. I'm a Moparman. What's wrong?
I knew something's been off for a while, but I couldn't pinpoint it. But this is like going to like Dr. Phil. I feel like, go ahead and tell me what's going on inside your mind right now.
I know. Holy shit.
Clearly,
I just realized it. I mean, it's a Mitsubishi. It's a Mitsubishi. It says right on the firewall.
Right. Denial is the first stage of becoming a Mopar man. Everybody knows that.
Oh my God. I literally did not even think about. I've owned this son of a bitch for a year.
Well, I will say this. I'll admit this on here, that there was a time
more than a year
when I was 22 that I traded a go-kart for a 74 Duster with a leaning tower power. I did.
Okay, a leaning tower power is pretty good. When Freiberger and I were working together, I drove a bunch of Mopars. Slant 6 truck, D100, and a slant 6 A100 van, both were epic. I loved those both. The leaning tower power is great. It's like an engine, only it needs none of the things a normal engine needs to still keep running. Mm-hmm. Like hopes, dreams, oil, fuel, it just goes. It's magic.
Look, I think we can admit that Eric's probably right here. Let's all just say we love American muscle. And amen to that.
Let's do that.
I mean, and it's like just like every drag and drive or every drag race, right? There's a winner and there's a loser. And usually it's the Chrysler product, but we still love it nonetheless.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Thank you, Charles, for trying to make me feel better. You never do that, so I'll take this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I did trade mine in for a Ford. It runs now. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait, I've had a couple. Oh, gosh, I had a 73 Satellite. I forgot about that. Oh, I did. I had a 73 Satellite with a 318. And we used to take it and put it on the dyno at Speed Tech and hold a nitrous bottle wide open over that two-lunger just to see what kind of power it made. We did a burnout contest with an AC on, and it did a burnout for 3 minutes and 21 seconds and lost.
Really?
It lost reverse and park. We broke the park pin somehow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it never overheated. Never overheated. It was great. I traded a $600 jet ski for that car. It had 61,000 miles on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I like it.
You did.
I'm a Moparman. To drink.
God dang, I've had more Mopars than I thought.
This is a sad night. What's going on here? Okay.
Well,
Can we stop now? Can we stop? Yeah, I'm going to have to get this video sponsored by BetterHelp. If you need a therapist.
Sponsor.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm going to have to go to church this weekend.
I know.
I gotta go get right with God because I've made some terrible, terrible mistakes.
I know.
Please forgive me. I repent.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna go into church.
Oh, Jesus!
You turn around now. We don't like your kind. Get out of here.
All right. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna wrap this up. So, like I said, you learned a few things tonight, right? First off, Drag Week was started in 2005. David Freiberger and the staff at Hot Rod came up with it. all based around Brock Yates' One Lap of America, which started 21 years earlier and is the same kind of deal except with road racing. And it is still going on today. Highly contested, ultra hardcore, super rad event. The second big Dragon Drive ever was Rocky Mountain Race Week. Matt Frost started it. Everybody thought he was crazy. And in fact, some people gave him a real hard time, like he was somehow doing something mean and evil and nasty, which didn't make any sense to me. Road Week, if you are, yeah, Road Week, if you are somebody that wants to go do this, but you don't really care about the competition side of things, join Road Week or the Sick Ward or what have you. We started it either year 2 or year 3 of Rocky Mountain Race Week. The first Dragon Drive to copy it was Sick Week. And now subsequently they've got it at all of their events. And in fact, they believe that it will very quickly surpass their entries, their regular race entries as well. On Rocky Mountain Race Week, they're real close to each other, but they think that they'll ultimately surpass their race entries for all of the sick events, which I believe. There's been a huge popularity spike in the last few years, and I think that can be attributed to the fact that you got a bunch of these Dragon Drives popping up all over the country in order to, sort of, cater to people that geographically, right? Now they're all over, so people don't have to go so far to do one, which is pretty cool. We're already getting ready for Rocky Mountain, or for Race Week 2.0, as people call it. For in September, we're going to be doing the live stream again. I got to thank Neil again for this year. It was great at Rocky Mountain Race Week. We had a good time. The bracket racing says, "Can I get a shout out for my dry hop at Killcare?" You can, because you did it for real and it was awesome. I loved it. But to all of you guys that are out there and you've done some Dragon Drives or you want to do some Dragon Drives, I encourage you to do more and more of them. But also, man, don't believe some of the BS. There's a lot of crap out there. People talk a lot of smack about one event versus another event. Right. Do the ones you want to do. They're all good. They're all, all serving a purpose. Some of them are different than others, but go and do them, right? I mean, you want to have fun. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you, everybody has favorites, right? There's a bunch of people that still believe that Drag Week is the only way to go, and good for them. That's okay. Drag Week's awesome, right? As long as you have a good time and as long as they treat you right, that's what matters. They all have a different personality. You will absolutely see a difference if you do them all. You are going to find that at some, you're treated differently than at others, right? You're going to find that at some, the mood is different than at others. You're going to find that at some, the kinds of cars that show up maybe are different than others, right? Obviously, the routes and the geography and all that can vary widely. If you're talking about Redwood Rally, which is up in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest in California and Oregon and all of that, that's going to be very different than going down to Florida for Sick Week, right? So, there's a lot of variety. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, and they can be brutal. And they're going to be brutal whether they're short drives or long drives, honestly. But pick the right one for you and do it, and you'll have a good time. And we promise to keep doing them. And the people like Matt Frost and June Allison and all of the staff doing all of the other Dragon Drives, I'm not going to rattle them off because I'll miss somebody and then feel bad. They all deserve a big, hearty thank you and some recognition for the hard work they put in. It is not easy. I know that, I'm involved in Rocky Mountain Race Week and Race Week because I've chosen to be, and so is Adam Dory, and we're involved at a very small level compared to Matt and June. We still feel like we have, we're a part of this, family put on event, but it is, it's one of those things. Oh, look, you know what? Rita's in the house trying to hit on everybody. Love it.
Hey, Rita.
Thanks. She gone.
She gone. Oh, bye, Rita.
Yeah.
Dang. She has 2 first
There you
names, too. Those are really trustworthy people.
I know.
Yeah. Rita
Oh
Linda.
well. Poor
All
Rita.
right. Mm.
Yeah, so I mean the point is
Just
go out
pick
and have
one and
fun.
do one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I
pick
mean if
one
you've
and do
been
it.
wanting
And
to,
don't,
just do one for the love of God. Like get off your
yeah,
ass.
get out there, do one, and then I guarantee you're going to want to do more. So just, and if you're already doing them, then you're awesome. You're way cooler than I am. But next year, I'm going to join you, and I'm going
Yes.
to be cool too. So, but yeah, it's been a great one. I love talking about Dragon Drives. It's people that do them. Like I said, they're some of the coolest people I ever meet. And if you've never experienced a Dragon Drive, you will leave wishing that the week had just started, no matter how tired you
Yes.
are.
It is. It's weird. It's a sickness.
Yeah.
But literally if somebody called you the day after and said, "Okay, we're doing it again," you'd be like, "Man, all right.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah. We call it the
I
hot
can't
rod
walk
hangover.
yet, but I'm in."
Yep. Yep. Brandon just texted me. He goes, "The hangover is real. We call it the hot rod hangover. It's tough to walk away from it, but look forward to the next one."
Absolutely. And everybody out there, we appreciate you guys tuning in. If you could please like and subscribe and do all those things, Ryan and I would appreciate it. Like I said, I have apparel that is coming very, very, very soon for all of the brands. And also, we're going to talk more about Tailgate Throwdown on the next show. We'll be doing this again in 2 weeks. Same time, same place. We're going to talk Tailgate Throwdown and a few other things. There have been some other topics people have asked me to talk about. And so Ryan and I will discuss and we will get those scheduled as well. But yeah, seriously appreciate all you guys tuning in and being a part of it tonight. It means the world to us. So, and
Absolutely.
big thanks to Lamb Components for being our presenting sponsor here on Triple B for the last few months. We really do appreciate them. They're awesome. So thank you so much to those guys as well. Ryan, anything exciting planned for 4th of July? I just realized it was 4th of July coming up today because I had another podcast scheduled for Thursday afternoon. So the Power Shift podcast was supposed to happen this Thursday, but it's going to happen the following Thursday. And the subject is going to be car theft. So getting cars stolen at shows and races and all those things. And so we're going to talk about that and have some really good stuff for you guys. So you're going to want to tune in on that one. But yeah, what are you doing? Anything exciting?
Nothing crazy, man. We're going to hang out, do some swimming, watch some fireworks. And this weekend is Sarah's birthday. So it's Sarah and actually my brother-in-law Cole's birthday the same day. So we're having a little shindig Saturday night. And, just plugging away, still working on the truck. We've made a few really good changes to the throwdown that we'll talk about next time. And looking forward to that. Still trying to figure out how to get you there. But, your schedule is very thick. But we are taking funds. If people would like to send money to me to give him a lump sum of cash to buy him out of his engagement he has at that same time, please let me know because I've already committed to doubling his price. That's right. I said doubling his price.
And, I forgot you did that right now. When you started talking, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
you were all,
anyway.
I think you'd had 2 or 3 of these. So, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So, we're going to be putting a GoFundMe up. It's going to be, please help. We need a good announcer. So, Anyway, be looking for it. Appreciate you. Yeah. Appreciate the continued support.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. We appreciate you guys so much. And we're out of here. That's it for tonight. See you next time. Bye.